vision, or have another print disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Dave Payne, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the August 23rd issue of The Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Okay, our first article is entitled, What Are You Watching? Our TV critic is liking Lucky with Western New York's own William Fichtner, Legends and Quarterback. This article is written by Alan Pergament. What have you been watching lately? That's the most common question asked of me during the summer. I suppose the best way to answer in a column about what I've been watching lately should start with a series co-starring a Western New York native. William Fichtner has been a very busy actor in the last year. He told me in an interview last November that he was in a series in which almost all his scenes were with actress Annette Bening. The 7-episode series, Lucky, is airing on Apple TV+. It's a world about making money, and it doesn't matter how, said Fichtner in November. Just about everything I do in the show is with Annette Bening. It was the first time I've ever met and worked with her, and that was a real joy. The 7th and final episode of the series, which also stars Anya Taylor-Joy from the Queen's Gambit as Lucky, and Timothy Olyphant as her father, premiered Wednesday. Taylor-Joy and Olyphant play career con artists who get their hands on $10 million belonging to Fichtner's villainous character, which puts their lives in jeopardy. It's a kind of role that Fichtner could do in his sleep. His role expanded throughout the 7 high-energy, preposterously entertaining episodes, and he has a significant part of the final. Lucky, whose real name is Luke Enia, has an appropriate nickname considering the numerous ways Taylor-Joy's resilient character escapes nearby impossible situations. I watched the entire series and enjoyed multiple twists. I saw a couple of the twists, but not all, coming. My wife will confirm. Fichtner, who is a big Buffalo Bills fan, has had a busy year. He also played a wealthy member of the high-end Los Angeles Country Club in the 2nd season of the Netflix Emmy-nominated hit series Beef with Carey Mulligan and Oscar Isaac. Olyphant has been as busy as Fichtner. He is underutilized as the love interest to Jennifer Garner's widowed character in the disappointing Peacock miniseries The 5-Star Weekend, based on the novel by Elaine Hildebrand. He also appeared in an episode in Larry David's Pretty, uneven HBO series Life, Larry, and the Pursuit of Unhappiness, an almost history of America. 5-Star has become the most watched scripted series on Peacock and has been renewed for a 2nd season. I'm unlucky to be the target audience of the series that also stars Chloe Sevigny, Regina Hall, Darcy Carden, and Gemma Chan. However, I would watch Garner read the phone book, but the script about her character, food influencer Holly Shaw, inviting a trio of competitive lifelong friends with her own issues, and a new friend she met via social media to her Nantucket home to commiserate is loaded with unappetizing cliches. I couldn't get past the premise of Hollis inviting a friend she barely knew. This talky, beautiful looking series deserves 2.5 stars at most. On the other hand, I highly recommend the fast moving 6 episode Netflix series Legends, in which a group of bored customs officers go undercover to bring down a drug smuggling cartel that has led to an outbreak of cocaine addiction in London, England. Set in the early 1990s, it is based on a true story. The title refers to the fake identities of 3 civilian servants who go undercover and avoid as many impossible situations as Lucky as they infiltrate the drug ring near the end of the administration of Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. The luckiest member of the ring is Guy, played by Tom Burke, a tough guy who is especially in jeopardy and with false bravado manages to convince the frightening group of people in the drug trade that he can help them smuggle multi-millions in drugs into England. The cast includes Steve Coogan as the leader of the undercover trio, Haley Squires as Kate, and Amin as Bailey join Guy in the mission. Since it is a British series, I suggest you put on closed captioning to understand all the dialogue. With the NFL season about to begin, it is a good time to check out the latest installment of the Peyton Manning produced Netflix series Quarterback. It has some news value since one of the 4 quarterbacks is Tampa Bay's Baker Mayfield, who has been in a contentious contract situation going into this year's training camp. He understandably feels disrespected after playing through a variety of injuries last season. Tampa Bay started 6-2, and Mayfield was an MVP candidate before things fell apart and the Bucs failed to make the playoffs. A loss to the Bills didn't help. Mayfield comes across as a caring husband and father who is easy to root for, which is one of the strong points of quarterback. Every quarterback in a season that includes 40-something Cincinnati backup Joe Flacco, second-year Washington sensation Jaden Daniels, and Titan rookie quarterback Cam Ward comes off positively. As with Mayfield, injuries to Flacco and Daniels illustrate what quarterbacks must deal with to stay in the physical game. Ward's rookie struggles illustrate the raw abilities that Brian Daboll, the former Bills offensive coordinator, who now has the same job in Tennessee, has to work with and hoping to duplicate the success with Ward that he had with Bills quarterback Josh Allen. You can see why Manning would want to convince Allen and his actress wife Haley Steinfeld to be involved in a future season of quarterback. It would be must-see TV in Buffalo and beyond, but considering how the power couple has decided to stay out of the limelight, the chance of getting them to agree to being in quarterback would appear to be about equal to the chance of Taylor-Joy's character in Lucky doesn't survive and the Legends crew doesn't complete its mission. Next, we will read from the Things to Do column. And the headline is the Lewiston Jazz Fest, the Buffalo Wing Fest, and the Queen Tribute. This article is written by Tony Roberto, and it's special to the news. Since 2001, the Lewiston Jazz Festival has worked to revitalize the regional jazz scene by hosting this event that has grown into one of the largest annual festivals in Western New York. This year, 5 stages will be found throughout the picturesque village of Lewiston to showcase performances by national headliners and some of the best local and regional jazz acts. The event runs from 5 to 10:30 p.m. Friday and noon to 10:30 p.m. Saturday. Buffalo native Paul Marinaro returns as the main stage headliner on Friday, where he will perform songs from his acclaimed album, Mood Ellington, a celebration of the music of Duke Ellington and Billy Strayhorn. Juno Award-winning trumpeter vocalist Bria Schoenberg headlines on Sunday. Both concerts start at 8:45 p.m. Lewiston Jazz Festival Artistic Director Tony Zambito said he was excited by the rage of artistry at this year's festival, not only with headliners Marinaro and Schoenberg, but with artists like Gabrielle Stravelli, Laura Dubin, and Sally Terrell, who, he said, each, quote, brings something distinctive. My hope as artistic director is that people don't simply come to hear great jazz, they discover an artist who they won't forget, unquote. To that end, there is continuous music by a diverse array of more than 150 performers throughout the weekend, including Ladies First Big Band, UB Zodiac Dance Company, Danny Froenhofer, Backroom Jazz Band, Dominique Massana and Friends, Masta World Music Ensemble, Elena Izquierdo, and the Temple University Parliament Sextet. While the event is free, main stage performance has limited admission and jazz club seating options available for purchase. It is held rain or shine. You can bring a chair, but no carry-ins or coolers are permitted. Find the full schedule and how to purchase tickets at lewistonjazz.com. Also, there's the Children's Pirate Adventure. This is from 1:30 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays at the Spirit of Buffalo, 4844 Prime Street. The Spirit of Buffalo schooner at the downtown waterfront hosts many tours throughout the season, and here's one made for the young ones. This pirate cruise for kids is held Saturdays and Sundays through September. Kiddos will hear pirate tales, go on a treasure hunt, and participate in other interactive fun. To learn more, visit buffaloboattours.com. That's buffaloboattours.com. Also happening is the Ukrainian American Day Festival. This is from 1 to 8 p.m. next Sunday, August 23rd. Which is actually this Sunday at the Dnipro Ukrainian Cultural Center of Buffalo at 562 Genesee Street. It's the 35th year since Ukraine declared independence in 1991 from the Soviet Union. Although Ukraine is forced into a battle to keep that independence, this local cultural festival continues to celebrate the independence through music, singing, and dancing, plus authentic food and Slavic beer. Children activities include a bounce house. There will be craft vendors and art displays. It is free to attend. Also, have the Country Rising Festival on Friday and Tacos and Tequila Festival on Saturday. Both are at Terminal B at the Outer Harbor at 850 Furman Boulevard. While Terminal B at the Outer Harbor has been filled with music all summer, the weekend before Labor Day is especially notable with back-to-back music festivals. First up is the debut of the Country Rising Festival at 4:30 p.m. Friday, where alt country artists including Big Extra Plug, Red Fearon, and Graham Barham will perform. There will be line dancing, a mechanical bull, and interactive games, too. And also, the Tacos and Tequila Festival will be returning at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Is a throwback party offering what its name promises, along with performances by the early 2000s hip-hop and R&B artist T.I. headlines the music that also features Too Short, Trina, Chingy, Peter Pablo, Yin Yang Twins, Young Jock, and G.J. Ashton Martin. Also look for Lucra Libra wrestling exhibitions, a Chihuahua beauty pageant, exotic car showcase, immersive art, plus Buffalo taco vendors. It is a 21 and older event. For tickets to both events, visit OuterHarborLive.com. Again, that's OuterHarborLive.com. Also happening is Queen Nation, a tribute to the music of Queen. This is at 7:30 p.m. Friday and Saturday, and 3 p.m. next Sunday at the Riviera Theater at 67 Webster Street, North Tonawanda. The Riv needed to schedule 3 concerts to fulfill ticket demand for this act that has been continually ranked as the top Queen tribute band in the United States thanks to its authentic performances. The 4 musicians, Gregory Finsley as Freddie Mercury, Mike McManus as Brian May, Pete Burke as Roger Taylor, and Parker Combs as John Deacon, dress in detailed 1970s and 80s Queen-era costumes to put on a 90-minute concert with note-for-note renditions of hits like Bohemian Rhapsody, Somebody to Love, and We Are the Champions. Visit RivieraTheater.org. Again, that's RivieraTheater.org. Also happening is the Buffalo German Fest, Friday and Saturday at Cheektowaga Town Park, 2600 Harlem Road. This is a family-friendly event in a beer garden-style setting, marks its 42nd anniversary with traditional Bavarian dancing, German music, food, and culture. The hours are 5 to 10 p.m. Friday and noon to 9 p.m. Saturday. It is put on by the Federation of German American Societies of Buffalo and vicinity. Also is the National Buffalo Wing Festival. It's Saturday and next Sunday at Salem Field, 275 Washington Street. Our ode to the mighty wing is being held before Labor Day this year, a weekend earlier than tradition. Otherwise, you'll get everything you expect with plenty of inventive wing choices from restaurants from across the country, plus plenty of contests, bobbing for wings, buffalo wing eating, and college wing eating for starters. The general admission tickets are $20 a day. Ages 8 and younger are admitted free. You can bring a chair, stroller, diaper bag, and medical equipment, plus 1 unopened bottle of water. Not allowed are backpacks, large bags, and dogs. Entrance is off Exchange Street next to the parking garage. Hours are 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday and 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday. Visit BuffaloWing.com. Again, that's BuffaloWing.com. And we also have some just announced events. The Disco Biscuits, the doors at 7 p.m. October 9th and 10th at the Town Ballroom. The Jonas Brothers with Magnus Farrell, Franklin Jonas, and All Time Low is at 7:30 p.m. October 20th in Keybank Center. The Queers with Johnny Revolting, the Barksdales, the Sneers, Abandoned Trains, and more. This is December 3rd at Mohawk Place, 47 East Mohawk Street. Visit mohawkplacebuffalo.com. And Teresa Caputo, the Long Island Medium. This is 8 p.m. April 2nd at OLG Stage at Fallsview Casino, Niagara Falls, Ontario. Visit ticketmaster.ca. And finally, some items from the quick calendar. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is at 1 p.m. Wednesday at the Riviera Theater in North Tonawanda, and it's free. Also, we have Lady A. It's at 8 p.m. Friday at the Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino in Niagara Falls. Also, Helmet is at 7 p.m. Saturday at the Town Ballroom, 681 Main Street. And lastly, we have the South Buffalo Irish Festival, noon to 10 p.m. next Sunday at Cazenovia Park. You're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Okay, we will review some additional shows at the Riviera Theater now. Starting in September 2nd at 7:30 p.m. We have the Pop 2000 Tour with O-Town, LFO, Shifus, and Ryan. All tickets are $39. September 4th, we have the Ultimate Doors, Tribute to the Doors, September 4th at 7:30 p.m., $20. On September 11th, Shady, live band tribute to Eminem, September 11th at 7:30 p.m., tickets $20. And Resurrection, A Journey tribute, September 25th and 26th at 7:30 p.m., $20. September 12th, Little River Band with special guest Cami Clune. September 12th, 7:30 p.m., tickets starting at $59. September 19th at 7:30 p.m., Absolute Adele with Jennifer Sela. All tickets are $29. And into October, Double Vision, The Foreigner Experience, October 2nd at 7:30 p.m., tickets $20. On October 3rd at 7:30 p.m. is Mike DeGucci, all tickets $39. On October 9th and 10th at 7:30 p.m., we have Night Fever, a tribute to Bee Gees, tickets are $20. And on October 23rd at 7:30 p.m., Seconds Out, a tribute to the music of Genesis. Tickets are $20. On October 24th at 10 p.m., we have Rocky at the Riv, a Rocky Horror Picture Show party featuring performances by Eye Candy, Vixens, Burlesque, The Ladies of Illusion, the Francis Bacon Experiment, Shadowcast. General seating is $20, and VIP seating is $35. And April 3rd, we have the John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band, April 3rd, 7:30 p.m. All seats are $39. And just announced, we have the Sarah Evans Holiday Road Tour, on December 9th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are starting at $59, and they will go on sale this Friday, 8/28 at 10 a.m. Okay, we'll move on to the books column. We have some book reviews, and the focus this week is on international intrigue. This is 12 crime, mystery, and detective novels in translation. This article is written by Eric Peterson from the Orange County Registrar. There's no mystery here. We all love a good detective novel, and while there are many great mysteries written in English, you're missing out if you don't occasionally pick up a book in translation for a fresh take on the genre. Here is a range of recently translated works that include cozy mysteries, crime novels, historical thrillers, and classic locked room conundrums. Okay, our first book is called The Clock House Murders. This is written by Yukita Ayatsuji. It's translated by Ho Ling Wong and published by Pushkin Vertigo. In the last standalone novel from the author's Bizarre House Mystery series, a group of paranormal investigators are trapped inside the Clock House, a haunted mansion once owned by an eccentric, and are being killed one by one. Detective Shimada Kayaoshi must solve the mystery and stop the murders from outside. Also, another book is entitled Felix Faw Street, written by Ken Bogle, translated by Julie Huntington. It's published by the Vanderbilt University Press. Named for a seedy thoroughfare in the Senegalese capital of Dakar, the novel opens at a crime scene after a gruesome murder. The novel was originally written in French, but is steeped in the West African Wolof language. The author, Maritou Mabie, used the pen name because Ken Bogle translates to someone unwanted, a pseudonym used by girls and women as a protection against misfortune. Next book is entitled The Final Problem, written by Arturo Perez Reverte, translated by Francis Riddle, and published by Mulholland Books. The Spanish author, known for bestsellers that include The Club Dumas, The Flanders Panel, and his Captain a la Triste series, delivers a total summertime delight here. Set in 1960 on a Greek island temporarily cut off from the outside world by a storm at sea, the novel features an aging Basil Rathbone-esque actor who once played Sherlock Holmes being forced to act as a detective to solve a potential murder or two. Next book is entitled Dead Weight, written by Hildur Nush Dorte, translated by Mary Robinette Cowell, published by Tor Nightfire. In this Icelandic mystery translated by the author of the Lady Astronaut series of novels, a lonely working woman comes home from the market to find a cat sleeping on her couch, but she doesn't have a cat. And when she learns about a woman who's missing hers, they connect and things begin to happen. Next book is entitled Nainan, written by Michael Jen, translated by Susan Oriel. The book's published by the House of Ananasi, convicted for killing his violent alcoholic father, an Innu man named Ali is released from prison after 10 years, but he's no longer welcome in his native community in Nuuk-Ushkun. So he heads to Montreal in search of a new beginning and tries to eke out a life among other exiles living on the edge. The next book is entitled The Secret Dinner, written by Rafael Montes. It's translated by Zoe Perry and is published by Celadon. On the first page of this hugely popular Brazilian thriller, which involves four broke friends who get involved in the dark underworld scheme involving dinner parties for the wealthy of Rio de Janeiro, a man in a blood-soaked tuxedo enters a police station to confess to a as yet unexplained crime. How can you not read on? And our next book is entitled My Grandfather, the Master Detective. This is written by Masatoru Koneshi, translated by Keiwo, and is published by Putnam. In this best-selling example of Japanese healing fiction, a grandfather with Lewy body dementia teams up with his schoolteacher granddaughter to solve a series of mysteries that she brings to him, a former member of a mystery club, whenever she visits. And the next book is entitled Centro Europa. Book is written by Vincent Luis Mora, translated by Rahul Berry, and the book's published by Bellevue Literary Press. Set in the early 19th century, this speculative mystery involves a recently widowed man who is attempting to start a new life in a village far from home. But when he begins to dig into the earth, he finds the frozen corpse of a soldier, and then another. That's when things start to get even stranger. And our next book is entitled Still Life. Book is written by Maylin Person Giolito, and it's translated by Rachel Wilson Boreals, and is published by Other Press. The Swedish author's 2017 novel Quicksand was adapted into a Netflix series, and here she delivers 10 stories about people who fall afoul of the law, such as a young mother who attempts to get her angry alcoholic mother the help she needs while trying to keep her own son safe. And our next book is entitled The Camino. The book's written by Anya Naiwira, and it's translated by Eileen Stevens, and the book's published by Simon & Schuster. In this novel by the hugely popular writer from the Netherlands, a woman mourns the loss of her husband, a former Bosnian refugee who died by his own hand on the Camino de Santiago. Resolving to walk the same path as her late husband, she soon begins to realize that things are not as they seem. And our next book is entitled Night Train. It's written by Zhu Zhisham. It's translated by Jeremy Tiang and is published by Two Lines Press. A graduate student wants the money his father promised him so he can travel by train before returning to school. After his father refuses, the son bursts into the house late at night, saying he's killed a man and must escape. With his father's cash, he takes the trip. Upon his return, however, everyone now believes he's actually a murderer. And our last book's entitled Broken Truths. It's written by Alessandro Robiche, and it's translated by Gregory Conti, and is published by Other Press. Set in modern-day Milan, this terrific novel involves a retired movie director who begins researching a comeback film about the death of real-life 1930s Italian crime novelist Augusto De Angelis. But as the director begins his work, the widow who lives next door ends up murdered. You're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Now we'll move on to the television column. The title is Exploring Extremes. Emmy Rossum delves into obsession in serial killer drama Furious. This article is written by Bruce R. Miller from Lee Enterprises. Obsession isn't necessarily a bad quality, actress Emmy Rossum says. In order to do anything really well, you have to be a little obsessed, she explains. Rossum came to the realization while prepping for Furious, a Hulu series about an FBI agent searching for a female serial killer. While investigating, the agent finds a common ground with the killer. Could she go to those extremes too? And that's what I found most palpable in the time that we got to spend with former and current FBI and law enforcement, Rossum says. They are very passionate about their job, and it doesn't feel like a job to them. It feels like a big part of their identity. If you're playing the good guy or the bad guy, your job is to approach everything with empathy. And when the character is different than you, that's what's so exciting to learn. You excavate the parts of yourself that are the darkest, that scare you for the purpose of bringing the character's world to life. It's an opportunity to think about the world differently than we are. For Rossum, who played a less buttoned-up role in Shameless, Furious was a chance to explore someone reserved, very disconnected. That's true of the serial killer, too, played by Lola Pettigrew. Both have had violence in their lives, and Rossum says they're both needing extremes to feel. For me, that's very different. I'm somebody who is deeply feeling at all time like the wind could blow and I will feel everything, Rossum says. For me to channel my way into this character, you have to disconnect from some of the softer, more feminine parts of yourself in order to do the job, in order to exist in a male-dominated field. For Pettigrew, Furious is an opportunity to play someone who's likable but has the space to be completely complex and hard and gray, she says. And then the audience comes in with their own moral lines, and we push them further and further until people are justifying things they didn't think they could justify. Produced by New Girl creator Elizabeth Meriwether, Furious emerged from her desire to watch dark murder stories after a long day at the office writing comedy. We're all interested in people and humans at extreme points in their lives and the choices they make at that point, Meriwether says. That's why I'm drawn to those stories. Like others, she says she can't believe such violence exists in everyday life. There's a detachment from reality that is so far removed from most people's personal lives. I don't think it's a sick fascination. It's an intrigue. I can't believe that humanity does these things. It's more of a surprise, Meriwether says. Says Rossum. It scratches that itch of wanting things to be okay. I have to know that the people I care about end up okay. My mom likes to read the last page of a book before she invests in the characters because she wants to know if the protagonist is going to die. She's protecting herself from that wound. When we watch a show, we want to lose ourselves in it. There's a picture in this article of Emmy Rossum on the left and Quincy Tyler Bernstein in the episode of Furious. Furious streams on Hulu, and new episodes are on Mondays. And now we move to the What to Watch on Sunday, August 23rd. All times are Eastern. Starting times can vary based on cable or satellite provider. Confirmed times on your on-screen guide. First, we have the NTT IndyCar Series Freedom 250 Grand Prix of Washington, D.C. It's on Fox at 1 p.m. Alex Palou, Kyle Kirkwood, Christian Lundgaard, David Malukas, and the rest of the IndyCar field compete in this historic race through the streets of Washington, D.C. and the National Mall. The 7-turn, 1.66-mile circuit includes straightaways on Pennsylvania and Independence Avenue. Also, we have Major League Baseball on ESPN and NBC beginning at 3 p.m. live. The San Francisco Giants are at the Boston Red Sox on NBC, followed by the Atlanta Braves and the Milwaukee Brewers in the MLB Little League Classic at Journey Bank Ballpark in Williamsburg, Pennsylvania on ESPN. Also, we have the NASCAR Cup Series Dollar Tree 301. This is on the USA Network at 3 p.m. live. Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs, and more of the Cup Series' biggest stars drive for 301 laps at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in the penultimate race of the regular season. Also, Collector's Call. It's on MeTV at 6:30 p.m. Michael Orsini may seem a bit young to have built an extensive collection of Liberace memorabilia, but as a stage performer, he deeply connects with the legacy of the legendary showman. Michael shares with us some of his dazzling finds, including a 17-pound Swarovski crystal jacket, a custom-made pennant Liberace wore while performing at the Academy Awards, and, of course, his iconic candelabra, plus many more treasures ranging from Vegas to the Vatican. Host Lisa Welchel has brought along Paco Alvarez, a former archivist for both the Liberace Museum and the Liberace Foundation, to appraise Michael's collection and to tempt him with a trade offer for one of his prized pieces. Can Paco bring enough bling to seal the deal? Also, NFL preseason football. We have Seattle at Tennessee. This is on Fox at 8 p.m. The Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks are at Nashville Nissan Stadium for a preseason game against the Tennessee Titans on Fox. And we have the Westies on MGM Plus at 9 p.m. This is the season finale. Season 1 of the crime drama centering on New York City's infamously violent Irish gang, the Westies, in the early 1980s concludes. J.K. Simmons, Titus Welliver, and Tom Brittany star. And if you prefer to catch a classic movie, Summer Under the Stars, starring Katharine Hepburn, is on TCM and beginning at 6 a.m. Katharine Hepburn, the fiercely independent star whose career stretched from early 1930s Hollywood to the late career Oscar triumphs, is celebrated with a full day of TCM classics. The lineup opens with Little Woman from 1933 with Hepburn as Jo March and concludes with Morning Glory in 1933 and backstage drama that brought her first Academy Award, and Song of Love from 1947. The day also features Stage Door from 1937, Bringing Up Baby, 1938, with Hepburn and Cary Grant in one of the screwball comedy's most beloved pairings, and The Philadelphia Story, the 1940 witty romantic comedy that helped restore Hepburn's box office standing after a string of flops. And lastly, we have movies you'll love. Mother Mary from 2026 is suspense, and this is starring Anne Hathaway and Akela Coyle. This is on HBO at 6 p.m. A Few Good Men from 1992 is a drama starring Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson. It's on Sundance, 7 p.m. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever from 2022, an action. This is Letitia Wright, Angela Bassett. This is on FX at 7 p.m. Coco from 2017, starring Anthony Gonzalez, Gael Garcia Bernal, on Disney at 7 p.m. The American President from 1995, starring Michael Douglas, Annette Bening, on CW at 7:30 p.m. Double Trouble from 2026. This stars Tammy Roman and Colin Lawrence, on Lifetime at 8 p.m. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is from 1967, starring Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn. This is on TCM at 8 p.m. Oppenheimer, it's from 2023, starring Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt. This is on SYFI at 8 p.m. And also we have Romance at Hope Beach from 2026. This stars Allison Sweeney, Gabrielle Hogan. It's on Hallmark at 8 p.m. And we have Father of the Bride 2 from 1995, starring Steve Martin and Diane Keaton. This is on ABC TV at 8:30 p.m. And True Lies from 1994, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. This is on BBC America at 9:45 p.m. And we have 8 Mile from 2002. This stars Eminem and Kim Basinger. This is on VH1 at 10 p.m. And lastly, we have Fast X from 2023. This stars Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez. It's on E at 11 p.m. You're listening to a reading of articles and features from the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Next, we'll read from the Today in History column. And we're starting way back in 1784. In 1784, on Sunday, August 23rd, 4 countries seceded from western North Carolina. 4 counties seceded from western North Carolina, declaring themselves the state of Franklin. However, the Confederation Congress denied its request to be named the 14th state, and North Carolina later reasserted control. After 4.5 years, Franklin crumbled. And in 1864, on this day, the Union Navy captured Fort Morgan, Alabama, one of the Confederacy's last ports on the Gulf of Mexico. And on this day in 1945, U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Mercader Garcia received the Medal of Honor, becoming the first Mexican citizen to receive the U.S. military's highest honor. And on this day in 1966, NASA's Uncrewed Lunar Orbiter 1 took the first photograph of the Earth as seen from the Moon. The Earthwise photo was grainy and black and white, but still powerful. And on this day in 1968, 43 black soldiers at Fort Hood, Texas, staged a peaceful sit-in to protest being deployed for riot control during the Democratic National Convention and potentially being ordered to shoot Black Chicagoans. On this day in 1989, Cincinnati Reds manager Pete Rose, Major League Baseball's all-time hits leader, agreed to a lifetime ban from baseball for betting on a game, including his own team. The ban, officially lifted months after Rose's 2024 death, has kept him from being considered for the Baseball Hall of Fame. And on this day in 2000, the finale of the first season of Survivor aired on CBS. And now we'll move to the Hints from Heloise column. Be mindful before removing linoleum. Dear Heloise, you needed to provide an alert about toxicity in the letter regarding linoleum, as the writer indicated that the linoleum was old and ugly. Unfortunately, older forms of linoleum from the 20th century contain asbestos. It should be left intact and removed by a professional that can handle and dispose of the toxic material. It's written by Steve via email. Here's another hidden asbestos. Dear Heloise, when I purchased my home, I was told the glue used to install linoleum in the 1970s contains asbestos. The cost of removing the asbestos was more than $3,000. I laid the new flooring over the old linoleum so that the glue wouldn't be disturbed. When I sell my house, I'm required to inform the purchaser that there's asbestos under the flooring. I hope June Y. in Camden, New Jersey, had the glue on her floor tested before she removed the linoleum. Even breathing the dust from the glue can damage the lungs. That's written by Leslie H. in Spokane, Washington. Recycling plastic bags. Dear Heloise, I take our plastic shopping bags to a nearby recycling shop that gives them to a local food bank. They use them to provide meals to homeless people. Our local Target also has a bank of recycle bins with a variety of options. It's written by Charlie G. via email. Leftover pie dough. Dear Eloise, leftover pie crust dough also makes wonderful crackers. Roll the dough out thinly, cut it with cookie cutters, then brush the cutouts with melted butter and sprinkle them with salt. Bake for 10 minutes and check on them before then. And try a cracker while it's still warm. It's from Ann S. via email. Clean hands. Dear Heloise, I've loved reading your column since I was a child. Many have cited baking soda's usefulness. A great trick for taking care of your hands if you garden, camp, or travel is to keep a small container of baking soda and a gentle, small nail brush. First, clean your hands, dampen with the brush tips, and dip the brush into the dry container of baking soda. Then gently use the brush to clean under and around your nails. Rinse and follow this up with moisturizer. I've been doing this for 40 years. That's from Jean W. in Richmond, Virginia. In newspaper donations. I know this subject has been brought up before, but I feel like it's worthy of repeating. For those of you who have a newspaper delivered, instead of throwing it away, bring it to your local animal hospital or animal shelter. I'm certain that they will be very happy to get them. With so many getting the newspaper digitally, they receive far fewer papers than they did in the past. That's from Ira B. in Lake Forest, California. And finally, storing ginger. I learned how to store ginger about 50 years ago from an Asian chef in San Francisco. Keep the ginger in a glass jar that's submerged in sherry in the refrigerator. It stays fresh, and the sherry can be used to make sauces. I also have some on hand. Also, I'm a longtime reader. That's from Paulette C. via email. If you have send a money-saving or time-saving hint to Heloise@heloise.com. Okay, we're going to read from a quick article on gardening. Stunning sun glow. Susan Middleton of Turner of Miller County, Georgia, features Superlophus Sunglow Texas Primrose in a hanging basket. This article is written by Norman Winter of Tribune News Service. That's pictured as a big basket hanging from a metal hanger outdoors. Beautiful yellow flowers. Perfect Store, Director Select, Best of the Best, and Leader of the Pack are just a few of the awards for Superlophus. I'm also reasonably sure you are thinking, what is Superlophus? Superlophus Sunglow is the official name of botanically known as the Ornithera, commonly called Texas Primrose. That's right, this golden yellow flower that is nonstop bloomer and tough as nails is a native selection and winner of 15 awards from Canada to Mississippi. Like a forensic files investigation, Superlophus Sunglow has one more botanical mystery, as its former name was Ladybird Sunglow calaphus. If you look up both the botanical and common name, it will seem as a plant war has been going on. In a humorous response, remember what the scientific community once told me: taxonomists have to eat too. Superfluous Sunglow Ornithera has so much going on for it besides being tough and standing up to triple digit. It reaches up to 24 inches tall with an equal spread. The flower's shade of yellow brings cheer and happiness, and pollinators love them. The foliage is a terrific texture addition, looking like fine grass. It does not attract the Bambi Brigade. A great plant can survive name changes, and Superfluous Sunglow Ornithera was dazzling at plant trials thanks to its contribution to a new recipe called Seaside Caramel. I think it would have been fun if it had been called Caramel by the Sea, but I digress. This recipe also features Superbell's Black Currant Punch, Calocho, and Luscious Basket Tanaglo Lantana. Another similar recipe is called Goldfish and features Superfluous Sunglow Texas Primrose, Luscious Basket Tanglo Latina, but differs with the addition of Superbell's Coralina Cambrici. While Superfluous Sunglow Texas Primrose is an annual, gardeners in zones 8A to 10B may enjoy them as perennial. They perform great in containers where well-drained soil is the norm. Landscape beds with good drainage will likewise yield the green thumb. For containers, an application of controlled release fertilizer at time of planting will repeated when plants look tired can be expected. If plants get leggy and open, use a sharp pair of scissors or shears to remove up to 1/3 of the plant's volume. This would be a good time to apply water-soluble plant food. The plant food and trimming will stimulate growth and bloom within 1 to 2 weeks. Superfluous Sunglow Texas Primrose is a winner from Mississippi to Canada and will win for you. Start sourcing now to be ready to create proven winners' recipes or your own Caramel by the Sea. Norman Winter is a horticulturist. Follow him on Facebook at Norman Winter, the Garden Guy. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the August 23rd issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News. We read from the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News every Sunday at noon. Your reader has been Dave Payne. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the front section of the Sunday Times. At 2 o'clock, we have the New York Times Opinion section. And at 3 o'clock, we have the New York Times Arts and Leisure section. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. If you're listening to this publication online, you're probably using our website, a podcast player like Spotify or iTunes, a streaming service like Siro, or a smart speaker. Did you know that we now have a dedicated app that can be downloaded to any mobile device, like a smartphone or tablet, for free? App users can conveniently access our live stream and any episode of our podcast easier. The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which makes reading, holding